Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lorelei Schmayo, and this is MeWe Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and many online, and we interview our practitioners and vendors so you get to know who we are before you meet us at an event. I'm excited to be here today with Terry McGill. Terry, it's lovely to be with you.
Good morning, Laura. It is so good to see you again.
Thanks. So tell us, what is it that you do? What do you offer at our events?
The primary offering I have is called Akashic Record Readings. The Akasha is a Sanskrit word, and it refers to the field of energy that's everywhere, literally every universe, all that is. And what I do is, in a reading, is I connect with the person. I just feel who they are. And then I ask them, what is it that you would like to focus on today? And when they tell me that, all the way I experience it, everything that relates to that in the whole multiverse becomes present. And the reason that I ask them to, what do you want to focus on is there is way too much information available. We need to parse it down to get it a tight focus. And then I simply ask this information to share, use my mouth, and to share. Some people call that channeling. To share with the client, the person, what's important, what's most important to them at that time.
Great, great. I guess I know there's like so much, and then right as they ask, right, there's less. Is it a relatively easy process for you? You just in that way like a vessel or a channel, or the information simply arrives? Or can it feel like overwhelming? I know sometimes for intuitives there's so much there, what to say.
Well, the information in listening to Dr. Rulin Shu, the quantum physicist, she says, everything is everywhere all the time, and it's simultaneous. And what we have to do is focus. We have to train ourselves. And I was trained about 3 years and finally graduated back in 2012. And I received a transmission that allows me to bring in information, more information at a higher frequency and vibration. So some people say, well, can you bring me a message from my cat that just transitioned? Probably not, because I focus on someone's soul journey or life journey, depending on what they ask. And, I've had a lot of practice since 2012. I do readings once or twice or more a month at New Renaissance Bookstore in Portland. And I do them, over the phone. I do them on Zoom all the time. So anymore, it's quite easy because I don't do it. I help the people set up the stage, and then I just check Terry over in one corner, and the information comes through. Sometimes it'll come through with a name and a form. It's like, this is Jesus. This is an ascended master. This is an archangel. Other times, the information seems like a cloud of light, and it doesn't have really a form. It's like a big globe. And then the information, it's very interesting. Could I give you a quick sample?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So let's focus on my being at the MeWe fair. And someone comes up and they ask, what does my job future look like? And I'll simply go, your job future depends on what you desire. Your life depends on what you desire. Your focus, the best thing you can do for yourself is to bring into your consciousness what it is you really desire. Ask for it, trust, believe, allow. And then you also need to do the work. Do a daily meditation, write down before the meditation what it is that you'd like to achieve, what your focus is for your next, however long it is, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years. So it's really that easy for me because I don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Great.
I've had people literally go, wow, that's exactly what I was thinking about. And I've had others just a lot of times they'll dissolve in tears because it's touched something that's deeper than the mind can reach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Terry checks out. It's like, you don't want to hear from my mind. Um, let me open up and allow the universe to give you what's the very best thing for you. I love my job.
I know you've been working with supporting people for so long. How did you get started and get interested in Akashic Records? And then what is sort of the path that led you, here?
Well, it was an accident. Um, I literally had a car wreck, um, uh, and I lost my mind. I was in graduate school and I couldn't even think, couldn't understand what I read for 3 years, and it's really a miracle that my mind came back. But along the way, I was doing meditations and doing some qigong, Chinese practices, martial arts, I thought. But it's deeper than martial arts. It's not fighting. It's aligning oneself inside. That's what you have to do in martial arts. That's what you have to do with any kind of reading. You have to learn how to hold this alignment. And so over, since 1975, this has developed to what it is. At one point, my wife and I were living in a rental house, and there was something strange about this bedroom in the basement. And I just had a sense that, and it turned out to be true, that there had been a person with a mentally imbalanced, greatly imbalanced mind that was kept locked in that room a lot of the time because parents didn't know what to do with the child. And then I just felt something and I allowed it to happen. That's when I began doing home blessings. I didn't know it at the time. When we really come into alignment, it just totally depends on what the focus is. For me, it was what's wrong with this room. Something inside my heart said, let's make it pure. When I'm working, doing Akashic record readings, it's like, what's the best thing for this person? And then, as long as Terry's not in the way, they get just, the best message for them at that time. In 2012, when I finished this 3-year training, I received a transmission that allowed me to read at the divine level, which is, way above human level. And so the messages come from a very pure level of consciousness. And that's why I love my job. I wouldn't do anything else.
Maybe can you say a little too, in the sample that you gave us, there was a bit of a pathway that was offered, and it's not defining at all. It's more of a pathway of a process, and the individual in all the influences right on their own path, whatever direction they might go, whether they follow the process or not. Anything you want to share about like the kinds of questions people typically ask and the kinds of information that is shared?
The questions people ask are all across the board. I'm just from everywhere. They'll come in with they're going to go over and get an X-ray because they've dislocated their shoulder and it's really serious. And they drove down from Milton Freewater, Oregon to Portland, like 9-hour drive. And they had a question, but the answer that came was about their shoulder and about how they needed to do forgiveness practice. A lot of people come and they say, tell me if I'm going crazy. I don't know what's going on in my life. Nothing is working. Another person had a business with 50 employees, and she says, life is great, but it doesn't have any meaning anymore. So those are people that are moving from one stage of their life to the next stage. And when we do a big jump like that, we really don't know what it is because it's totally different.
Yeah, so supporting people in all kinds of stages of their journeys.
Yes, some of them have relationship issues. Some of them go, well, am I in the right job? Recently, I got a phone call from a woman who used to live in Portland, and she'd moved somewhere back east, Minnesota or Wisconsin or something like that, to care for an aged parent. And she says, I can do what I do over the phone, but people really want me to be in person with them. She was a music teacher. Mm-hmm. And what can I do? And so she was ready. At least that's what came through my mouth. She was ready for a shift to serve people at a higher level. Instead of teaching them how to play a musical instrument, she was already doing it. She had a spiritual background for 20 or 30 years, and she was partly aware of it. She would mix in how you can make your life better with playing the instrument because it's all about focus. She just needed to, will be changing her focus from a musical instrument to the person as the ultimate instrument. And that's the basis, as far as I have studied, of all of the higher teachings, traditions, and religions. The more I studied over the last 40 years or so with different teachers and books and tracking down mysteries, it's all the same. We need to let go of our belief systems and become aware of what's real at a non-physical level. Some people say, you need to open your heart. And it's true. That's a common theme. Let go of the mind, come into the heart, and become who you are.
Great. Well, if people want to connect with you, learn more, where do they find you on the web?
The best way is to go to clearlyguided.com.
Great.
And you may need to put www in front of .clearlyguided, but usually not. The web has changed so much. And that term was given to me by another reader years ago. I said, I can't figure out what to call my website. And she says, you give people clear guidance. Why don't you call yourself clearlyguided.com? And so it seems right for the last, 10 years.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Terry. It's been lovely connecting with you. I look forward to more people connecting with you and being aware of your work and being supported by all that you do.
Thank you so much, Larry.
You're welcome. And for all of you listening and watching, you can find out more about all of our events. At MeWeFairs.com. Thanks so much.